You stand at the edge of greatness, and then you fall, not slowly, violently, like a star burning too bright, too fast, until there's nothing left but the memory of light. This is the story of Sherik, a voice so smooth it could melt steel, a presence so commanding it filled every room, and a darkness so consuming it erased everything. By the time the world remembered his name, he was already gone. And the questions that followed his death, they would haunt everyone who ever believed in him. If you love uncovering hidden legends like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to Legends Underrated and tell me in the comments where in the world are you watching from. It's July 6th, 1957, Sacramento, California. A boy is born F. Lamont Smith, but the world would eventually know him by one name, Sherik. Not much is known about his childhood, about the forces that shaped him or the dreams he carried. What we do know is this: he was tall, impossibly tall, towering at 6 feet 4 inches, with a voice that seemed to come from somewhere beyond this earth. Smooth, haunting, powerful, the kind of voice that made you lean in closer, made you believe every word, made you forget where you were. When Sherik sang, time stopped, rooms fell silent, hearts opened. But beneath that gift, beneath the twinkling eyes and the magnetic charm, something darker was already stirring, something that would, one day, devour him whole. The music industry is full of stories like this: talented souls who rise fast and fall faster. David Ruffin, Jimi Hendrix, brilliance wrapped in tragedy. Sherik would join their ranks, but his story remains largely untold. Most people who remember the 1980s remember the hits, the icons, the legends, but they don't remember the ones who slipped through the cracks, the voices that should have been immortal but were silenced before their time, until now. His first real break came through Motown, through a connection that would both elevate and complicate his life. In the early 1980s, Sherik became the lead singer of a rock band called Kagny and the Dirty Rats. The group was put together by Cliff Lyles, the son of Renoma Gordy Singleton, Berry Gordy's ex-wife and a powerhouse in her own right. Ray, as she was known, had helped build Motown from nothing. She'd been there at the beginning, arranging music, recruiting talent, making decisions that shaped the sound of a generation. She knew talent when she heard it, and when she heard Sherik sing, she heard something special, something that could change everything. Berry Gordy signed Kagny and the Dirty Rats to Motown. Executive producer Benny Medina worked on their debut album. The group recorded a song called Sukiyaki Hot Sake Su for the 1985 film The Last Dragon. If you've seen that movie, you remember the scene. Bruce Leroy searching for the master, stumbling into a factory where 3 men confront him. That song played in the background. It was funky, energetic, unforgettable. The kind of song that makes you rewind just to hear it again. But despite that moment, despite the Motown machine behind them, despite the buzz and the promise, the album was never released. Berry Gordy dropped the group. Just like that, rumors swirled that James Brown, the godfather of soul himself, wanted to work with them, wanted to produce their music, but it never happened. The door slammed shut before they could even step through it. For most artists, that would have been the end. The dream would die. They'd fade into obscurity, maybe get a regular job, maybe wonder what could have been. But Ray Singleton saw something in Sherik that she couldn't let go. She pulled him aside, convinced him to go solo, and became his manager. She believed in him so deeply that she used to call him the Black Elvis Presley. And she wasn't exaggerating. Sherik had it all: the voice, the look, the presence, charisma. He could command a stage, seduce a crowd, make you feel like you were the only person in the room. Ray poured everything into him. She got him work doing background vocals for Rockwell Berry, Gordy's son, on his album Captured. Sherrick even worked with Stevie Wonder on a track called He's a Cobra. He was moving through the industry, making connections, building momentum. The pieces were falling into place. But somewhere along the way, their professional relationship became personal. Ray and Sherik became lovers. It was complicated, messy, dangerous. She was older, experienced, connected to one of the most powerful men in music. He was younger, magnetic, hungry for success. They kept it quiet, hidden from the world. But behind closed doors, the chemistry was undeniable. She believed in him. She fought for him. She sacrificed for him. And he needed her maybe more than either of them realized. Because what she didn't know yet, what he was hiding, was that Sherik had a secret, a demon that he tried to keep locked away, and it wouldn't stay hidden for long. It started with a disappearance. Sherik moved in with Ray, and they began working on demos for his solo career. For a while, everything seemed fine. He was focused, driven, recording, but then one day he vanished. No call, no note, nothing. 2 weeks passed. Ray didn't know if he was alive or dead. She imagined the worst. Then, out of nowhere, the phone rang. It was Sherik. He was in Austin, Texas, confused, desperate. He needed her to pick him up from the airport. When she arrived, he told her the truth. He was homeless. He had nowhere to go, no money, no plan. And she, despite every warning sign, despite the red flags waving in her face, let him stay. That's when she realized the full extent of his problem. Sherik was addicted to crack cocaine, the drug that was tearing through communities in the 1980s, destroying lives, erasing futures, leaving nothing but wreckage in its wake. He would disappear for days, stealing her car keys, vanishing into the worst neighborhoods in Los Angeles. The cycle was brutal. He'd leave, get high, come back broken. She'd take him back. He'd promise to change. Then he'd leave again. One night, he called her at 4 a.m., his voice shaking, begging her to meet him downtown with $100. A drug dealer was holding her car hostage until he got his money. When she arrived, Sherik looked terrified, barefoot, broken. His eyes were hollow. She gave him the money. Someone else pulled up in her car. She got it back. But this was just the beginning. Days later, it happened again. This time, he needed $200. The neighborhood was worse. The danger was palpable. Ray knew she shouldn't go, but she did anyway. She always did. Then it happened a third time. This time, the neighborhood was hell. Darkness everywhere. The kind of place where hope goes to die. She gave him the money. He took it and disappeared. She couldn't find him. Hours later, she got a call from his girlfriend, Rita. Sherik had been shot. Someone had beaten him with a baseball bat. He was in the hospital, barely alive. His body broken, his spirit shattered. Stories like these are why I built Legends Underrated. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more untold legends. Addiction is a monster that doesn't negotiate. It doesn't care about talent, about potential, about the people who love you. It takes everything, every dream, every relationship, every chance at redemption, and Sherrick's addiction was relentless. But somehow, after that hospital visit, after staring death in the face, something shifted. He went back to rehab, 28 days in a facility. He committed, he focused, he fought, and when he got out, he stayed clean long enough to finish his album. Ray Singleton, despite everything, despite the heartbreak and the chaos, managed to secure him a deal. with Warner Brothers Records. Benny Medina, who was now head of the black music division at Warner Brothers, believed in Sherrick's talent. He saw the same thing Ray saw. The contract was signed, the album was recorded, and in 1987, Sherrick's self-titled debut was released. And for one brief, shining moment, the world saw what Ray Singleton had seen all along. The album peaked at number 44 on the Billboard R&B albums chart. In the UK, it climbed to number 27, but it was the singles that really caught fire. Just Call, Smooth, Seductive, Irresistible reached number 8 on the Billboard Hot R&B Singles chart and number 23 in the UK. It also hit number 26 in Ireland. The song was everywhere. It was voted Record of the Year by Blues and Soul magazine in England. Another publication named Sherik the best new male vocalist of 1987. His cover of the original's Baby I'm For Real also charted, peaking at number 53. Critics praised his voice, his delivery, his undeniable charisma. Billboard wrote that Just Call was a pop hit in the UK and predicted crossover success. Reviewers compared his voice to Teddy Pendergrass' big, burly, powerful. He had done it. He had arrived. The world was watching. The future was bright, but success couldn't save him. Not from himself. Not from the demon that still lived inside him. While on tour promoting the album, Sherrick fell back into old patterns. Every city became a hunt for drugs. He performed, charmed the crowd, then disappear into the night. Ray would have to track him down in crack houses, bail him out of jail, pull him back from the brink, over and over again. The cycle was exhausting, heartbreaking, inevitable, and when it came time to record his second album, when Warner Brothers gave him a $20,000 advance, money meant to fund his future, to secure his legacy, Sherik took it and vanished. Every dollar went to drugs. Not a single note was recorded. The second album was never made. His career was over before it even truly began. Ray Singleton, the woman who had fought so hard for him, who had sacrificed so much, finally had to let him go. She couldn't save him. No one could. Sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes belief isn't enough. Sometimes the darkness wins. Sherik disappeared from the music industry. For years, no one knew where he was or what had happened to him. The voice that had promised so much was silent. But in November of 1993, something unexpected happened. Sherik got married. Her name was Lynn Connor Smith. Together they had 3 children, Kiriandra, Paris, and Chance. For a while, it seemed like maybe, just maybe, he had found stability, a reason to stay clean, a reason to fight. In 1999, Sherik did an interview where he said he was sober and working on new music. He was collaborating with R&B singer James Ingram and other musicians. There was hope, a glimmer of redemption. Maybe the story wasn't over. Maybe there was still time, but it was too late. On January 22, 1999, Sherik died in Los Angeles, California. He was only 41 years old. 41, a life cut short, a voice silenced. The cause of death was listed as unknown, though rumors swirled that it was a crack overdose. The voice that had once filled stadiums and moved hearts was gone. The man who could have been one of the greats, who should have had decades of music ahead of him, was dead. And for most people, that would have been the end of the story. A footnote in music history, a cautionary tale about addiction and wasted potential. But then, decades later, something else emerged. Something darker. Something that would reopen old wounds and create new ones. In January of 2021, talk show host Wendy Williams made a shocking allegation. She claimed that Sherik had sexually assaulted her in the 1980s when she was a young radio DJ in Washington, D.C. According to Williams, she had interviewed Sherik and was mesmerized by him. She said he flipped the interview around, charming her, asking her to attend an album release party with him. She agreed. But before they made it to the party, Williams alleged, Sherik assaulted her in a hotel room. She said she left afterward, went home, and scrubbed her skin off. She never told anyone. She carried it alone for decades. The timing of her revelation raised questions. Williams made this claim just days before the premiere of her Lifetime biopic, Wendy Williams, the movie, which aired on January 30th, 2021. The assault was depicted in the film, though the character was renamed Ricky Tony. Sherrick's widow, Lynn Connor Smith, responded publicly, expressing pain and frustration. She questioned why Williams was speaking out now, more than 2 decades after Sherrick's death, when he could no longer defend himself. She stated that their family did not know Williams and had no knowledge of any relationship or encounter between them. Lynn Connor Smith said, Sherik was a beautiful man, a genius with a voice like an angel. We have 3 amazing children. This is quite painful to not only us, but his nieces and siblings. She added, why would Wendy not call the police if it were true? Why did she go out with him? We have questions too. Why did Wendy Williams, the queen of media, wait 25 to 30 years to speak up when she tells the truth as a career? It's hard to believe. Why now? The family emphasized that while they would never minimize sexual assault, they found it troubling that Williams made these allegations when the accused could not respond. This twist shocked the world. And if you never want to miss stories like this, make sure you're subscribed to Legends Underrated, and don't forget to like the video if this story moved you. Sherrick's legacy is complicated. On one hand, there's the music, the undeniable talent, the voice that could transport you, the songs that still resonate. Just Call remains a classic of 1980s R&B. His version of Baby I'm For Real is hauntingly beautiful. On the other hand, there's the tragedy, the addiction that consumed him, the opportunities lost, the lives affected. And now, decades after his death, there are allegations that cast a shadow over everything. The truth is, we may never fully know who Sherik was. Was he a misunderstood genius destroyed by addiction? A man who hurt others and paid the ultimate price? Or both? Can someone be both victim and perpetrator, talented and troubled, loved and harmful? These are the questions that linger. These are the questions that have no easy answers. What we do know is this: Sherik had a gift, a rare, undeniable gift. He could have been one of the greats. But demons, whether internal or external, whether addiction or something darker, prevented him from reaching that destiny. And now, all that remains are the songs, the stories, and the unanswered questions. A voice that should have lasted decades was silenced at 41. A legacy that should have been clear is now clouded by controversy. So here's what I want to know. Have you heard Sherrick's music? What's your take on his story and the complicated legacy he left behind? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.